My name's Porter, Peter Porter. I'm one of the local Air Raid Wardens. I signed up at the beginning of the war because I couldn't enlist, you see. I've a gammy knee and terrible arthritis in my elbow. Oh, and I didn't pass the medical because of my eyes. I've a lazy eye, you see. Nothing too serious. I wanted to enlist. I was going to go with my friend Reggie from number 49. But I'm happy being an Air Raid Warden. I like it. And Mother likes it too. She likes having me around. Gives her a sense of purpose with me. Father not being here, you see. God rest his soul. She likes to look after me. Not that I need looking after at my tender age. I'm 39 years young. Big 40 on Valentine's Day. Being an air raid warden is an important job. It's up to me to patrol the streets at night with my Bert and Ernie. That's what I call my helmet and trusty torch. I also have a gas mask, a sealing pipe, a gas rattle, first aid kit, and a set of report forms. Ooh. And I used to wear my warden's overalls. They were made of heavy cotton. They had lots of pockets, which I liked. I don't mind telling you that I look quite smart in my uniform and helmet. I think even Mavis, who lives above the bakers, likes to see me in them. She always gives me a wave and blushes. Occasionally, she even says hello. I like Mavis. Anyway, I'm digressing. It's up to me to make sure everyone's abiding by the blackout regulations. We always have to put up dark sheets or materials over the window to black out any light at night time. That way, it would make it more difficult for old Hitler's bomber planes to know where to drop their bombs, because they wouldn't be able to see us, you see. Some people ask me what it's like walking around the streets in the pitch black. To tell you the truth, I was a bit scared to begin with, but it's not so bad now. If I do get a bit lonely on the quieter nights, I just whistle to a quiet tune to myself. I like George Formby. Most people don't need to be reminded about the blackouts, but you do get the odd one. I always have to remind Mrs. Shepherd, bless her. She does have a lot on her plate. Then there's old Mr. Wilson. He's a lawum to himself. Right grumpy old fool. You should hear some of the profanities that come out of his mouth. But they know I've just got a job to do, especially during the Blitz. I'm not to take no for an answer, and there'll be no casualties on my watch. That's what they called the heavy and frequent bombing attacks. Night after night, German bombers would attack London and other cities. Can you believe they dropped some 5,300 tons of bombs onto London? Thankfully, I never got hurt. Mind you, I had a few near misses. I never told Mother that, though. She would never let me out again. Those bombs took out some of the biggest buildings in Redbridge during the Second World War. The Super Cinema, that clock tower, and the Hippodrome were just a few. Hundreds of residents were killed and wounded. There was the Doodlebugs and the deadlier V2s, which were more silent. My job is to make sure everyone is safely tucked up in the shelter when the air raid siren is heard. It's a loud noise that echoes through the air and grabs your attention immediately. A lot of people built shelters in their gardens. Anderson shelters were the common ones. Other people just hid in their basements or cupboard under the stairs. The underground stations were also used. That's where I often directed people to. All the shelters were quite cramped, but it's better than the alternative, I can tell you. The worst part of my job was when I had to rush out to a house that's just been hit. A bad one was the Shelbys at 108. I was first on the scene and I had to act pretty fast like. Smoke and debris were everywhere, and fire was still pouring out a part of it. As soon as I got there, I knew it was bad. My chicken nearly missed a beat, it did. And that's when I heard them. God knows how. Mother says I've got a good set of eardrums on me to make up for that dodgy eye I got. I heard whimpering and crying, and then voices. Only faint, mind you. I knew I was supposed to wait for the old Bill and Fire Brigade, but there was not much time. I figured out they were trapped in the basement, so I quickly scrambled over the back end of the house. I used my billock on the end of my ceiling pick to help move some of the fallen debris. The smoke was really clogging up my lungs, and I wasn't too keen on what was left of the unfallen ceiling too. I tried to move away some of the debris as quick as I could, and I screamed for help as their voices suddenly started becoming louder and louder, closer and closer. I was coughing, and just that moment, another part of the ceiling collapsed, covering me in dust. But I carried on, mind you. I had to, you see. Mr. and Mrs. Shelby were trapped there, maybe exhausted of air. Just then, I saw a gap, and then a hand. I had them. That was a strange night, that was. Some people say I was a hero, but I don't think so. Real heroes were out fighting like my mate Reggie from number 49. I didn't tell Mother that story, so best you keep it to yourself if you don't mind. But I will tell you one thing, though. After hearing what I'd done, Mavis even came over and spoke to me proper like. I'm taking her out on Saturday.